I'm so excited. I already popped the rosé.
So we're already popping stuff, huh? A little early for
That's
that.
how we do it.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to the premiere episode of Sex, Lies, and Blank Pages.
Cheers to that.
Woo-hoo!
Cheers.
I'm already drinking. Is that bad? It's
not
Sunday
at all.
brunch. Yeah.
Well, I've got rosé. What do you have?
I have like a margarita morning brunch kind of. I'm the tequila girl. Like everything else gives me a headache. Yeah.
Oh.
So, but it's it's brunch. It's Sunday brunch. I can do that, right?
Yes, I'm here for it. I am here for it.
We'll just pretend we're here for it.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the first podcast of Sex, Lies on Blank Pages.
Yes.
How are we feeling, girls? This is kind of crazy. I think we've been talking about it for so long. So we're like, so we're probably going to be working through some bugs first. So guys, bear with us, but we're going to get down to nitty gritty of all the industry and Willow and I.
Yes, I'm anxiously excited because like every signing, every time authors get together, I know we all go to the bar and we all talk about things behind the scenes. And like, I'm excited to just share some of this with the world because this is what a $2 billion a year industry.
Yes.
And it has absolutely changed so many lives. And I know both of ours have been changed by this industry. So I'm ready to get down to it and talk about it.
And it's very important to talk about these things that people may not know about.
Yes.
The people that are kind of on the outside of things don't understand exactly what goes on behind the scenes.
Or they're perceived. They have this idea because they hear from somebody else. Oh, this, and so they have a certain perception of what it is. And sometimes it's not that at all. So I think that's what we're here for, is to show you that things aren't always what they seem. So,
yeah, there's definitely a dichotomy. Like there's a huge dichotomy within the industry and what it looks like this, very loved, like she's really making it, like this must be the dream. And then the other side, you're like alone at a computer with like self-doubt and like also like for every 100 5-star reviews, like we're going to read that one star review every time.
Yeah. But it's also, I think people see this idea, especially they see us at signings, and there's a lot of people that we go full for it. We dress up, we look pretty, I'm like, this is not what's real life. It's me and my dog crying over it. Usually I'm like, God, it's not. That's what I like.
Not at all. That's what I always say. I'm like, I'm in my pajamas. I'm in my pajamas right now, but I'm in my pajamas 24/7. So if I'm going to leave the house, I'm going to dress up. I am putting the red dress on and red lipstick and going all out.
Yes. Yeah, we're kind of playing a part there too. So we're like, look at, I can be a real human girl. Pinocchio.
So should we introduce ourselves for people that don't know exactly who we are? They're probably like, who is this chick? Go ahead. You
my lifesaver. Go ahead, Willow. You start us out.
Okay. Yes. I've been writing for 7 years. I'm completely self-published on a USA Today bestseller. I have over 50 works written, 12 of which are co-written and some of which are novellas. So I'm a very prolific romance author and I'm building an empire. That's for sure. I'm definitely making some waves and doing some things that are different in the industry, and I'm having a blast doing it.
And waves can sometimes rock boats that people don't want to be rocked. And that's
100%. Yeah.
But tell us a little, like, because you and I it's so funny. We're totally good friends, but we come from such opposite backgrounds of how we started industry. You came from science. I came from the acting, creating stage design background. So tell me more about like how you got into.
Yeah. So let's rewind all the way back to, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a little baby boy and I was pregnant with my little girl, and we were broke as a joke. And I had so much guilt. I thought I had done everything right. I thought I did everything the way I was supposed to do it. I was salutatorian in high school. I had a double degree with a BA in neuroscience and a BS in biology. I met my husband while pursuing my PhD. I left the program, got married, had a baby. And then I knew while I was pregnant with my baby girl, I was like, this is actually not a good situation to be in. The year that he graduated with his master's, DuPont left Delaware. We were both from the science background. So he had to drive 90 minutes to work every single day. Since we had a baby boy, I couldn't go back to work because daycare costs what I would have made in the industry. And we had purchased our house at that point. So I found myself in a position where I was like, this is not great. like I'm going to like mommy play dates and I'm like, am I able to stop and get coffee for myself and hash browns for my baby? Or is that going to put us under financial pressure? That's how bad it was. But at this time, I was reading romance novels every single day because that was something I could do on Kindle Unlimited. It's only $9.99 a month. I was able to do it without putting any type of pressure on us. But I knew that we were really in a negative spot. When I had to sell this little diamond bracelet that I bought when I was working retail, I put it on layaway. I used my coupon. I waited for it to go on sale. It was like over $1,000 and I only paid a little bit for it. So for me, that was like my worst comes to worst, we're going to be okay. And my husband had this stupid car that every time he went over a pothole, the rim would be wrecked and it would financially devastate us. And the day that we sold that bracelet, I was like, I have to do something. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I have to do something. And my husband's friend, Samir, who's godfather to my baby girl, he said, have you ever heard of Kindle Direct Publishing? He was like, you can just self-publish. Because I was talking about these romance books and how much I really loved them. And I was
hold on though. I thought you were like going to say like, do you know Kindle or do you know pole dancing?
Well, at the time, yeah, I was very pregnant at the time. I mean, there's a market.
Some people have a kink about that.
Yeah,
so.
they do. They do.
There's an audience for everything.
There is. There's absolutely an audience for everything.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Go on. I was just kept thinking like that would be. It's like, so do you know about?
Yeah. Well, that's not something. I mean, but going to that though, that's not something you can do during kids' nap time. Right. I guess that you could set it up in your basement or whatever, but that's a lot of equipment. Yeah. Even only like it's a very heavy expense type item to get into or type career. Whereas direct publishing, you and I both know you could upload something today and it doesn't have to be of quality. You don't have to put time or money into it and it can be live and it can generate income. So at the time with me being very limited to, I had to do it at home. I only had a little bit of time to do it and I had no money to actually invest into it. I was like, let me do this. I have these stories. Let me try it. And within 8 months, Sean put in his notice because I made his entire yearly salary in a single month. And I told him, I was like, I can't keep doing this just during nap times. I need you to help me. And it changed everything. And now I still have, I still have mommy guilt, but I think that just comes with everybody.
Mom.
Exactly.
I have dog mom guilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's even hearing about that, how much the industry has changed from like just putting up something and create income. Things have changed even that. So
100%.
Yeah. So I'm 10 years. I've hit 10 years. I have
cheers to that.
It's like, ouch. So, and I wrote I was a Goonies Labyrinth kind of kid. So I always wrote paranormal, but I started writing romance because I feel like I needed that clean, like I need just something that's simple, not magic, not like she's, and I really enjoy both. I'm just known more for my paranormal, but I love writing contemporary too. So I started, I thought, well, at first, I think when I was young, I thought I was going to be a dancer. That didn't, work out. So I thought I was going to be an actress, aka waitress in LA, and doing all the right now I'm, go unions, help, support the writers strike and
100%.
I was that girl doing day players and stuff like that. And I really got into set design. I realized Hollywood is very harsh on especially women. And I don't think I had the skin for it. Like, people are, it takes a certain type and, there's a lot of somebody's related to somebody getting it anyway. So I started really getting into like when I was sitting, like doing for hours, you would be setting up a, thing on the set. And I'd be like, oh, I love how like they made this look like, so I got really into set design. So when I left LA, I traveled around for a while and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get into interior architecture and design. So I was back to school. I was, up all night doing that, like, and then all of a sudden I was living in San Francisco and all my friends that were like, I'm from that area. So all my friends are like, come back. They all started moving away. And all of a sudden I was alone. I found myself like in a place that's supposed to be so comfortable and meeting new people. Big cities aren't really made for, so I started reading. Like I always read, but this was like, 17 books in a week. It was just gorging because I just felt like that maybe that was just the world I needed at that time. And I found that more or not, there was the books that I didn't like that actually inspired me. Like the girls, like I wanted to be like throw the book against the wall. I'm like, like, and I always wrote. I didn't realize like ever since I was young, I was writing stories. I was a country kid, so I'd go out in the field and be like, and write stories. I just never thought about it as a career, and so then all of a sudden I just wrote my first book, which was Darkness of Light, which ended up actually at that time, it was like 2 years off of the 2011 self-publishing. So I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. If I always felt like it chose me instead of like, I chose it. It was like, this is like, you have all these, loans and all this stuff for, the school you're going to, but this is what you're going to do now. So
I love how we were both at like lows in our life and we read and we found ourselves in reading. And I think that's what we really provide. Like, that's why I'm so grateful and so proud of this career, because we really come through with our stories and help so many people.
It's an incredible escape for people.
It is
incredible because the world is so rough and raw right now. And just having that escape is what so many people need right now.
Definitely.
Like I provide it for myself, and I know like we write our stories, but the fact when you can do it for somebody else, when somebody comes up to you and it's like, this one woman, she's like, I'm in chronic pain. She's like, so for the 2 hours I read your book, I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. Yeah. She's like, I was in that world. And I'm like, that is like, that's the best compliment you can give me, that I made you not feel pain, that you could disappear. So yeah. So
it really is. It really is. There's a quote from Stan Lee, and I don't know it verbatim, but he's talking about how he was like, all of his friends went on and did like so many amazing things, and he was just writing comics. And he came to that, like, it took a lot of people telling him, like, you're changing the world through your art. Like, it's not just writing.
Right. Yeah. And I think this industry, we have a lot of negative, it's just romance. Oh, it's
100%.
Oh, it's so when you're constantly.
Yes. I just did a TikTok this morning because somebody commented. Did you?
I did. I was like, go.
Yeah. And I don't always respond to the trolls, and you can't educate everybody. And some people say things in bad faith and some people say them just to be mean. But somebody had commented in a YouTube video, well, it's nice that you can read your pornography out in public, but men can't, and they're made to be ashamed of it. So I did a post that was like, well, this isn't erotica. You're porn. If you take away the sex, what do you have? In your story? Like, these stories aren't just explicit sex. It's not to get you off. There's so much coping. There's so much development. Even if you try to take an explicit romance and make it into closed door, you can't just delete the scenes. You can't just delete the explicit content, because within them, you have a progression of emotion, you have realizations, you have connections. There's so much more to our stories than just that. But yeah, we get hit left, right, and center with hate, with censorship, with misogyny. It's there's
women have a lot of misogyny.
100%.
I mean, it is just unbelievable. Sometimes I'm like, wait, you're just saying the same stuff like men, and it almost gets in their brain and they don't realize. Because when I first started writing, like, I think I first started at the time YA was really big. So I think Twilight was out, like it was at that time. So it was very fast that I realized, like, no, I'm not a YA writer. And so my mom helps me a lot, which you guys, if anybody knows me, like her first thing was like, oh, we're writing smut or something. And I'm like, why did you say that? And she's like, and she stopped herself, and she still stops herself. She's like, I don't know. It's just something that like their generation or people just kind of like put it down. And then you naturally pick that same thing up, and you don't even think about it. You just be like, oh, it's this. And you're
it's so ingrained in our society to look down and talk down on romance.
But romance, you think about this world, what are we without love? What are we without human relationships? Like, to poo-poo it and put it down, I'm like, then what are we existing for? Like, what?
And
what are you hiding from?
You hit the nail on the head, because it's the romance, not the sex. Because there's sex in thrillers, there's sex in Game of Thrones, there's sex in Sons of Anarchy, and that's not talked down at all. Nobody seems to care about that. But God forbid you have a story that's a romance and there's sex,
intimate, because their sex a lot of times is degrading. It's always the women like big breasts and standing, and they're treating them like crap. you know, and there might be that one girl that they're better with, but it's always kind of degrading, you know, and I'm like, so it's just in our society to treat anything that has emotion attached to it as, oh, we're going to put that down because that makes me feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to, you know, belittle it. Yeah,
exactly. Even though I do want to shout out to Jon Snow's butt cheeks. Like,
I mean,
that was that. I will remember that scene for the rest of my life.
Bring me back to Jason Momoa's when he was his character.
Oh,
that's
my heart.
That was my like.
The damaged
I knew who
hero.
he was before that. That was the one time that was the timing I met him. I met him twice, but that was before he got Aquaman, and I was just like, he is everything what you think he is. Like, I just like, he's not a disappointment at all. He's like,
and he uses his platform for a lot of activism, which I really appreciate, and it's wonderful to watch.
He's a true alpha in the sense of he would never claim it, and he puts women and like everybody, like he's not an insecure. And so
he did get in trouble on one of the sets, like socially among readers, because one of his co-stars was reading a book and she was spending all of her time reading. So he ripped out the last couple pages in the book.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Jason.
It was just a joke. It was a joke, but I was like, how could you do that? I'm like, did you buy another copy and you immediately had it ready? I'm going to assume he did that because I'm just going to assume he immediately had another copy ready to go right for her. So
like, don't mess with that ending, Jason. We love you, but we'll take you down too. We'll cut throat for that.
All right. So, I guess I should introduce myself before.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Wait. Yes. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. I was enjoying the conversation. My name is Colleen Oppenheim. I'm an industry professional. I have a BA in English literature, so I do have a background. I worked in advertising for years, and I too became a stay-at-home mom. And about 11 years ago, I stumbled on the indie publishing industry and became a blogger. And that's how I got in. And about 7 years ago, I started working in PR and marketing. And here we are. I am also a personal assistant to an author.
If
you can't see, Stacey raised her hand. Both hands.
But like the whole like, let's us do this, or the we thing means her.
Yes.
Couldn't live without her.
And I am here kind of like as a moderator, herder of authors.
Good luck.
Kind of bring in like a different perspective, because I am definitely more behind the scenes. So it'll be a different perspective for me, but not unlike what they are saying. So.
I don't think that everybody is going to know what a blogger is and the impact that bloggers can have.
Yes.
So if you just want to just maybe how that has changed in the industry and the impact that you've had.
Right.
Yeah, because it's important.
When I started out, there was a couple major bloggers, and that was kind of about it. And I wound up taking over kind of a bigger blog. She had some life issues, and I had become friends with her, and we kind of just decided I would take it over. And blogging is so important to authors, whether you're an influencer, a book talker, a bookstagrammer, or just post on Facebook. Even as a reader, like, you don't have to have a website to be a blogger. But it's so important to get the word out on the books and the authors that write them. And your reviews are so important to get them noticed and to propel them forward, that, you know, even if you're on the cusp of, oh, should I do this? Do it. You don't need anything special to do it. Just a love for books and the authors that write them. And I think
you could start out.
It's changed a lot in the past 11 years, most definitely.
100%.
Before it was kind of like all sunshine and light, and we all loved each other. And it has definitely taken a darker turn recently, which we'll discuss in a later episode.
In some ways, but there's still so much positivity too.
Yes,
there is a lot of
majority of the time. Yeah.
And I love to work with bloggers. That's part of my job. I love to talk to them and kind of nudge them forward. And yes, do this. If it's sitting on your brain, do it. And it's just so important for you guys because you don't have the publishing house behind you pushing that your book and everything else. It's, you know, I just bloggers are so important.
Yeah, and
I
bloggers
fired up about it.
You can start with 2 people. Like bloggers, like when you start, don't be scared. Like you're going to probably have 2 people that watch your thing for a while, and then all of a sudden something will click, and you'll have thousands. I've seen them go from like 0 to like they have like 3,000 people following him now. So keep it with it, or just do it for the love of books. Or if it makes you stressed out, then
for the love of books. Like I say all the time, I don't know how writers did it before social media and being online, because every single day I see positive posts. I get so many messages about impact and motivation and inspiring. And like, it really fuels me to keep going. And I think that's one of the reasons that romance authors are so prolific is that support from the community, because it really is. It's wonderful.
We're intertwined. We can't do it without each other. Like
and
every time
go ahead.
No, when we're at events and people are like, "Oh, thank you for coming," and I'm like, "No, thank you for being here. I wouldn't be here if you weren't here." Like, so I'm always much more of like, "No, thank you."
Yeah,
and it's important if you're a newbie or a seasoned author to have that. Like, it's like a tribe behind you. It's so important because they're your audience. They're who is going to what's the word I'm looking for? They're gonna
it's the book they're waiting for. Like it's the same thing for writers. If you're thinking about writing, write it for you. But there are so many people out there who are looking for that. They're looking for that book. And there are so many readers who are looking for those reviews from bloggers and looking for that community.
And don't be scared of writing a review. Like it can be 3 sentences. It truly can be 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Talking about the
longer reviews as a PR and marketing person. I love the longer reviews, but it can be 3 sentences. Like, I love this book because it doesn't have to be a whole thesis on why you love the book.
Well, talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, there have certainly been some.
We'll get to that one later. Like we have to be careful not to go overstep. Like we have, that's going to come up.
Yeah. There have been so but the community really is primarily positive, even with the occasional moment.
Yes.
Just ignore those moments and keep it moving.
I like the happy space.
Yes.
But it's crazy though, from like 2013 was my first book release, the blogging industry, and just how much it's evolved and changed, and especially with social media and how all this we keep having to change. And it's constant. People are, I think people wanting a formula when they talk to like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, we never know either. Like we're constantly being like, "Oh crap, that no longer works. We're going to have to adjust." And, so it's a constant revolving door of ideas and how to keep
and authors and bloggers because of that, because those major bloggers that used to be like prominent on Facebook, like back when I started, it was all about whether or not they would review your book and post about you. And that was like, that would push you. I don't know where a lot of them are anymore. Because you just simply don't see them anymore because Facebook has changed and now there are other platforms that have larger reach. And so you've constantly got to change in this ever moving industry. That's for sure.
I've seen a lot of authors disappear of that too. They were really big and they kind of are like, I'm done fighting this, and kind of like,
and the pressure and the burnout is real. It comes on all sides. Blogging, what I do, writing, it
It absolutely does. I hired an economist. I didn't know that was even a job. And it's an economist and an accountant. And the accountant said that she likes to think of our self-published authors as athletes, because you do have, for the most part, self-published authors, they have a shelf life. You know how to work whatever is going on. And the moment that it shifts, if you can't keep up, you're done. Which is incredibly sad in my opinion, because it's artists. Like we make so much of a positive impact. It is. Yes. But that's the reality of this. It's a $2 billion a year industry that's ever changing. And it's a lot of community. It's a lot of competition, and it's high stakes.
It is high stakes. And I don't think people realize how many hats we wear, and the fact we have to be kind of good at all of them, which I'm not good at the business part and the social media. And I'm like, so it's hard to keep up and to stay present and up the top when there's a flood. Every day I hear somebody new, oh, I've just released a new book. Oh, I've just released a new book, you know, and you're like, oh my
and
God.
you don't always know what people are doing, and they don't always tell you the truth either.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of secrets in the industry. There's a lot of people who pay to play, but won't tell you that. There's a lot of things that are perception as opposed to reality. And when you're trying to figure it out and you don't have a how-to, or your how-to is constantly changing, or different people are taking different paths and you don't know what to do, that's where like the anxiety comes in, the self-doubt comes in, and a lot of times the failure.
Yeah.
So
But
how do you two make it work? How do you make it work?
Yeah, that's
We're
with
flexible.
all challenging.
We're
If you
really
ask-
flexible.
If you ask my husband, he might say that I'm somewhat flexible, but he also calls me his little veal, because that's his nickname for me, because I just sit there all day.
You are like, well, I think that whatever drive when you were like, you were like, we have no money. I'm going to like, you have that drive in everything you do. And sometimes you probably, as Sean would probably say, you take on too much, but you have I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I just throw it all against the wall and tell Colleen to do it. I don't know. Like, that's what's so frustrating when people come up to you and go like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't even know sometimes. Like, because every day is something that like what used to work yesterday probably no longer works, or it's so flooded, it's not getting the reach you want anymore. Or so that's what I'm constantly trying to find new ways to reach, like, I've always been especially in Hollywood, I want to do out of the box. Like, why don't we have commercials on something like Netflix, or like right before a show that kind of like has inspiration to ours? Why can't we have those opportunities? Or, and it's just like, so I'm always that kind of person, but I don't like, and then I get stumped with the same, like, oh, we'll give you this and this and this. And it sounds like the same thing anybody else has given me. So I struggle the same with everybody else. I don't know. I just, I'm just work hard at it.
So, and this is why it's such an important conversation to have, because people don't realize this. They don't realize that this is ever changing, and you guys just have to
make it work.
Yes.
We have to. And you make it work.
And it's a full-time job. I've never not working. Like,
and it's
I'm
not just a
way.
one person full-time job either. I'm always asked, how do you do it? How do you do it? I'm like, I don't. I hire so many other people to help me.
Yes.
Like, I have 12 people who I pay salaries to.
Right.
That's how big my business has become, and how much I've had to delegate so that I can write. And even now I haven't written in the last 3 months because I'm too busy doing other things that are providing an ROI. So I have to put the attention there until I'm able to. If you guys don't know, currently my house is filled with books and boxes because of direct sales on websites. Yes. So I need to get this out of my house so I can hire other people to do it, so that I can get back to focus on writing. It's difficult because you don't know when the next change is going to happen, what is going to blow up, where you should put your attention, when you're going to be able to delegate. Like, you just have to go with the flow. And I'm like, this is a wild ride. Like, and I'm just throwing my hands up. I'm like, here's the wave. Woo!
Yeah. And there's such a misconception about you just write the book and you kind of throw it through Grammarly and put a cover on it, and that's it. And that is not it.
Yes, it's not.
Actually, like, that's like
a good way to not survive.
Yeah.
A good way to not survive.
Writing is actually like 2% of the job. Like, the rest of it is all the other stuff. And that's the part that's kind of
then you get the
frustrating
question,
and burnout.
Then you get the question of, well, why don't you just go traditional publishing? And it's like, well, traditional publishing, like, what you get paid is going to be substantially different, and whether or not you make it. Like, every traditional published author I know is also indie, or also has another job. Yeah. And B, like it doesn't make, like, what are you going to do? You're try to query, you're going to try to do the try, like, or you can just do it yourself. Now, my therapist, be in control. My therapist says it's a little bit of a coping mechanism for me, but you know what? I don't need to deal with all my issues. I can write romance novels and make money. I just ignore them.
It's like, I don't need to date. I have all my hot guy friends. Totally. I'm therapeutic in myself.
Exactly.
Plus we have this. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are some challenges you guys have faced along the way to where you are now?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I've almost quit. You could. I've almost
Yeah.
Oh, I've quit
so many times.
mentally quit thousands of times.
Yeah.
I probably do daily.
So much. Yeah. Maybe
like I flipped the table on myself. I'm done.
That might be a really good question to go into our next podcast. Maybe the good, the bad, and the really fucking ugly.
Ugly. We're going to get down. See, this is just the intro. Get to know us, but we're going to start getting dirty and ugly from now on.
And we're going to talk about some things that are uncomfortable. Like,
we are a beautiful mess in a pretty cover. That's for sure.
I'm just a mess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. See you guys next time.
Thank you guys for listening. I was so excited for you to join us, and I hope you keep joining us. We didn't totally turn you off yet.